It's November 29th, 2014, and I just explained how I was raped from a lying down position by a government employee, and how cops covered up for that. And as I said, wasn't looking very good for cops and the FBI and so on and so forth, for me to be trying to make rape reports about two of their employees and their employees' sons who had been involved in organizing rape against me when I was younger. One was Robin Bechtold, one was Josh Gatov. And the situation that I talked about being raped from a standing position, which occurred with Mike Tanzer, that didn't happen until a few years later. So then so basically it was Robin that they used, and then they used Josh Gatov, and then they used Robin again. And I will go into the second rape that Robin committed against me in a different section. And another situation where it was a government employee that attempted to get the same thing out of me. And he was also government. But because I'm specifically mentioning the different positions and triggers and cues and strategies the government was using for specific scenarios, I want to keep it organized or ordered so that I'm explaining how they were facilitating these various rape methods against me. And the next and you know how I was being trained to respond is after I got raped, I'm supposed to pretend like we're all friends and hang out with them. Because if I didn't, they could lock me up, chain me, electrocute me, and withhold food and water and that kind of thing, which is what they did when I was a kid for me. And sometimes bring in even more people to rape me. So then the other rape scenario that the United States government practiced against me and conditioned me for was to be raped, and then if I tried to get away from them, to have a phone ringing. And that phone call was meant to be a reminder that that I had to shut up and accept it, or I was going to get potentially killed. And the United States government didn't use another one of their agents to practice that on me until several years after Mike Tanzer. And they used Alvaro Pardo, a man who has been working for them for decades. And they used him for that specific government situation. So that was the fourth time that it was a pre-planned government scenario that was used repeatedly on me when I was a kid. And kind of outside of the scope of just rape me when I was incapacitated. Because there's rape when you're incapacitated, of course, you know, if you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol to a certain degree that you can't consent. Even if you do consent, it's not real consent. There were a couple of those kinds of rapes that they threw in using their government men. But that wasn't really something that they had practiced quite as much as trying to get a non-drug or alcohol-looking rape facilitated against me just by years of torturing me ahead of time. So I'm going to just leave it at that for right now, and I will talk about this other situation that they organized for having me accept being raped and using a ringing phone as a warning to me that I had better. I mean, basically, they're acting like pimps you know, like the government is a fucking pimp. You know, a pedophile, torturing, Nazi pimp. And, you know, I was like, okay, so-and-so calls me and, oh, is there a problem? And if there is, if I try to say something, you know, they beat me up because I am not allowing myself to be raped. This government owes me a lot of money. And it cannot be overestimated how much money they have stolen from me. And the damages they've done to both me and my son, who they kidnapped so that they could try to continue this cycle of abuse.